Welcome back to AM Sports Cover 4, where we cover all things college football. Make sure that you smash the subscribe button and become a member of the channel, as well as hit the like button on this video. Now, Jay, we did a video earlier. This was, I guess, about a week or so ago, and it was entitled, "Are the Colorado Buffaloes in Trouble for 2024?" Now, specifically, I made comments in that video where I saw in the comment section a lot of pushback. There was definitely pushback in regards to Travis Hunter and my beliefs that he is just an ordinary to below ordinary or average DB. But I think he is a special wide receiver. It's just my opinion. I think he's too small for DB. I think he's a little light in you know what to play DB. But we also talked about Deion as a recruiter, and that was one of the reasons why many thought that Deion was going to be exceptional in his role in Colorado. He was exceptional at Jackson State, and that was the reason why we saw the level of success that we saw from him at Jackson State. But so far in Colorado, we have not seen that level of recruiting. Now, Jay, you know, and I know, just based off of years of following college football, that you get that initial bump when you become a new coach. It's a level of excitement around the program. And because of that excitement, you get a bump in recruiting. We saw no such bump in recruiting for Colorado. And so that's the reason why we asked the question, was the Colorado Buffaloes in trouble? Because Deion is not recruiting at the clip that some people thought he would recruit at. Now, we mentioned specifically that his overall recruiting class, if I'm not mistaken, it's ranked in the 130s. I can't remember the exact number. I want to say 138, but I can't remember the exact number. But it's in the 130s. And some people pointed out, well, that doesn't include the transfer portal. The transfer portal is supposed to be where it's at for the Colorado Buffaloes in 2024. And Colorado is ranked very high in the transfer portal for 2024. Let me see if I can pull that up right now. Let's see the transfer rankings. The transfer rankings for 2024. Ole Miss is number 1. Texas A&M is number 2. Oregon is number 3. Florida State is number 4. Colorado is number 5. Now, the thing about the way that the transfer portal rankings work, Jay, is that they are based on accumulation. That's the same with high school as well. So I think as you get, closer to a set number, and I can't remember what that set number is, but your lower level people end up falling off in terms of your overall score. But at the end of the day, it's going to be based in large to the number of people that you have in your class, right? So when you look at the other top 5 teams, the only one that has 20 transfers is Texas A&M. Everybody else is in the teens. Florida State 15, Oregon 11, Ole Miss 17. So Colorado, in part, is so high because of the number of recruits that they have. Now, if you look at their overall ranking, Jay, their overall ranking, star ranking for the 24 commits that they have is an 88.08. That's a 3-star, ladies and gentlemen. 3-star. The average transfer ranking was a 3-star. So, Jay, you and I, we decided to actually list out some of the players, and we specifically focused on the trenches, offensive and defensive line. Why? Because offensive and defensive lines are where games are won. And that is the area where Colorado had the most challenges last year, protecting Deion Sanders, and they had a lot of trouble on the defensive line. They brought in 13 offensive and defensive linemen, Jay. Their high school star rating was a 2.8. Their transfer rating is a 3.3. Now, don't get me wrong. Players like Tyler Johnson, very effective player at Houston. Quincy Wiggins from LSU, also very effective. BJ Green coming to this team. Samuel Okunlola, who brother coincidentally is on your favorite team, the Miami Hurricanes. So there is some talent there, but this mind-blowing talent that people are claiming Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes have that are going to turn around the season. Maybe it might happen, Jay, I don't know. But at the end of the day, right now, just on the surface, their star ratings would not suggest that. Now, we did look at some PFF ratings. Some of them were good. Some of them were just okay. Couldn't find all the PFF ratings because we don't have access to it. But I don't see this as a mind-blowing class that's just going to turn everything around. Jay, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction for sure. But people are talking like they're going to the playoffs. They're going to win the Big 12. They're going to do this. They're just going to blow everyone out. Pump the brakes. It takes time for one. Although these guys weren't necessarily, they weren't. Some of them weren't even starters at their previous institution. One guy hadn't played the first 2 years. Only played 2 games last year. That's transfer from Alabama. Now they did get a home run hit. I will say that with the wide receiver transfer on Will Shepherd. The kid can ball. He balled his butt off at Vandy. So that was a hell of a pickup right there. But again, to your point, all good teams, they build from the inside out. You got to have the trenches. You got to be able to protect your quarterback, and you got to be able to get to the quarterback. If you can't do either, your back end is going to suffer on defense, and your quarterback's going to be on his back end as well. So I mean, they did a decent job as far as what they had. They're still undersized. It's going to be a work in progress, but people need to pump the brakes as far as just going to be so in love with just Deion's name alone. He has to put in more work. It's only his second year there, so I always say all coaches need at least 3 to 4 years to put their thumbprint on their team. Now, the transfer, they did more in the transfer than they did in recruiting, which is kind of concerning as well, because once these transfers leave, depending on how many years they have left eligibility and how good they do this year, they may be gone. So you don't have anything to build anything in the chamber. So you're pretty much shooting your load all on this 1 year here. We know Shador, it may be gone after this year. He's just that good. Shador is a star. There's no questions about that.
He's a stud.
He's a beast. Depending on how he looks this year, he may be in the running again for the Heisman. He was in the running for the Heisman early on with the poor team they had last year on the offensive line. But to your point, I mean, I know it's not always about stars all the time. Ed Reed was a 2-star. Turned out to be one of the best safeties ever. He's up there, especially in the NFL. So I mean, stars don't always matter, but we gotta use some context. You can't say stars don't matter at all either. For them having 2.8 in high school, coming out and then transfer being 3.3, yeah, they got a little bump up, but some of them they still didn't get a lot of playing time. So it's also going to be about how they gel with their new environment. So that's going to be key on see how they gel, injuries and whatnot. But most importantly, they still don't have the depth at their school at Colorado just yet for Deion. So I'm pulling for Deion. Deion's one of my favorite players of all time. I used to, like a lot of kids wore number 21 in high school when he played. That was my number because of Deion. Deion and Bear Sanders when Bear Sanders at Oklahoma State. But I gotta give Deion time, and y'all just gotta lower your expectations. Y'all gotta be realistic. Can't say they're going undefeated. They're going to the playoffs, and if they do, awesome. But the likelihood of this team here that has this many transfers over, low-level transfers, not high-level transfer guys, low-level transfer guys coming over and just not wrecking shop is kind of far-fetched in my opinion. They can prove me wrong. We'll see when, come August, September when they start playing, but this is a long ways to go. Like I said, Will Shepherd, excellent pickup. He's probably the steal for them. He's the best guy. And then the brother of Pancake that plays for Miami, Samuel, I think he's going to be a decent player as well. I watched a little bit of him in Pitt. He has an engine, but he's one guy. He's kind of undersized. And when you don't have a lot of guys around you, you start the wear and tear of a long season. The attrition comes into play. That was their problem last year. On top of they weren't that good up front, and they're still not that good. They're better, but let's not act like they're going to be Georgia this year. Let's calm that down.
I agree. The whole 11-1 and 10-2 that I saw in some of the comments were, to me, absurd. But we'll see what ends up happening. Guys, you guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to the recruiting class of the Colorado Buffaloes. Definitely a step in the right direction. It's no knock at Deion. We're just being realistic here. These guys are not world beaters that they brought in. Better step in the right direction. Deion has some work to do. And I'm a little bit concerned about just the continuity. And that's the reason why I talk about the high school ranks. You want to bring a player into your program so that they learn your system and that you have continuity so that a player has come through your ranks, your program, and when they're ready to play, now you can insert them into the starting lineup or the 2 deep, 3 deep, whatever, and then you have succession of players coming behind you. And I've said this on multiple occasions, most of the times you don't have that elite talent in the transfer portal at those specific positions like DE, quarterback, offensive tackle. It's harder to find those guys in the transfer portal. It is what it is. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is AM Sports Cover 4, and we are